In the Beginning by Dr. Walt Brown. This is part 2. We're just going to dive in on page 118 and page 119, and you can get this at this flip book at hpt.rsr.org. hpt.rsr.org. Let's dive right into this. Take a picture of this. Fountains of the Great Deep. As the flood began, an observer from space would have seen a similar sight. Notice the bulge of West Africa beginning to form as the rupture path traces and creates the mid-Atlantic ridge. Material launched from the fountains of the Great Deep create comets, asteroids, meteorites, and trans-Neptune objects. See page 309 for the origin of comets and page 345 for the origin of asteroids, meteorites, and trans-Neptune objects. Material struck the moon, made craters and lava flows still visible today. So notice the beginning, the bulge of West Africa. Okay, let's make that a little smaller. West Africa. Where is West Africa? Must be in here. The bulge. Okay, so let's dive into the fountains of the Great Deep. Oops. The fountains of the Great Deep. Had the events of the global flood been understood when Darwin proposed organic evolution in 1859, evolution and its many adverse social, scientific, and educational consequences probably would not have arisen. Here's why. If a culture ignored, oh no, what did I do? I like PDFs so much better than this. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, if a culture ignored for any reason a past event as cataclysmic as a global flood, major misunderstandings or errors would creep into science and society. One of the first would be the explanation for fossils. Typically, fossil A lies below fossil B, which lies below fossil C, etc. If flood explanations were weak, unbelievable, or censored, evolution would provide a simplistic answer. Organism A evolved into B, which much later changed into C. Fossil layers would represent vast amounts of time, so other geological features could then easily fit into that time frame. With so much time available, possible explanations multiply. Explanations not easily tested in less than a million years. Billions of people, most of whom were not scientifically sophisticated, would hear and be taught these million and billion year explanations for much of their lives. Belief in those unimaginable time spans would become the cultural norm. A century after Darwin, evolutionary explanations for the universe, chemical elements, heavenly bodies, earth, and life, which, like cancer, multiply and metastasize. A century after Darwin, evolutionary explanations for the universe, chemical elements, heavenly bodies, earth, and life would, like cancer, multiply and metastasize. Part 1 of this book shows that those ideas are false. Part 2 will show in ways an interested layperson can understand the flaws of those geologic explanations and that there was a global flood and with vast and unique consequences. For example, coal, oil, and methane did not form over hundreds of millions of years. They formed in months. Fossils and layered strata did not develop over a billion years. They formed in months. The Grand Canyon did not form in millions of years. It formed in weeks. Major mountain ranges did not develop over hundreds of millions of years, but in less than an hour. Radioisotopes didn't form over billions of years and then decay over billions of years. Most came into existence in weeks. These statements are shocking until we carefully examine the evidence in part 2. You will be hard-pressed to find anyone willing to debate these matters with someone who understands the flood. A debate offer has been in place for 42 years for evolutionists to debate against the hydroplate theory on its scientific merits. It even included a $10,000 finder's fee, also available to the participants. Yet no one has ever accepted the challenge. See page 577 for details. Ironically, some leading creationists who believe in a global flood have contributed to its frequent rejection by advocating unsound mechanisms for the flood. They have failed to answer people's most basic questions, such as where did so much water come from? And where did it go? One of these incorrect explanations is the canopy theory, pages 525 to 533, examine its many problems. Others who know of these problems have proposed an equally weak explanation called catastrophic plate tectonics. It is the flawed plate tectonic theory sped up a millionfold by conveniently assuming miracles and unworkable mechanisms. Page 500 gives several facts that falsify the plate tectonic theory. Past failure to honest flood questions open the door to evolution and old Earth beliefs. Answering those questions will begin to reestablish the flood as Earth's defining geological event, and two, reverse serious errors that have crept into science and society. Don't be surprised how catastrophic the flood was. Just follow the evidence. So that was the intro to part 2. This is Fountains of the Great Deep. And boy, is this going to be fun learning this. That was page 118 and 119.